Hello. Okay, so I just made a post saying that I was going to do this podcast. So I was on a client call and we were trying to figure out ways we can get this amazing superstar started in the gym. And I told her about my experience starting out as well, and then it just led to another client, because I set up a three-way chat with another client because I thought that it would help her a lot, and she said that was the best thing I ever done, because now she's more motivated than ever that I linked her up with another client that's at a similar stage to her. And that's kind of why I'm just so obsessed with what I do, because I want to build an army of like-minded women that just want to empower each other, and that's exactly what they're doing. And I get to witness it as well in the three-way combo every time I pop in, and it just makes me smile. Anyway, so I got asked to talk about getting started in the gym pretty much as a beginner, as well as someone returning after a layoff from the gym, and as well as just feeling a little anxiety at any stage going into the gym. So, my story. So, in 2014, in November, when it was my birthday, on the 3rd of November, I joined the gym, but it wasn't open. They were taking foundation members at a really good price. So I signed up, and they were set to open on the first day of 2015 for New Year's. So that first day was pretty much my New Year's resolution to join up with the gym, and I set myself a target of going twice a week. But coming from a background of not really finishing anything that I complete, and continuously being reminded by my parents as well, oh, you never finish anything you start, oh, you never complete anything, what's going to make you feel like, what's going to make you think that you're going to stick to this now, and blah blah blah. And I got put off starting a lot of things that I wanted to do because I was known as the child that never completed anything. So that kind of, it still rings true to me now, but the thing is, I recognize it, and I can actually act on the thoughts when they pop up and dismiss them as just that. But it does take a lot of work to be able to recognize such things and be able to dismiss them and stuff. And yeah, so pretty much I was always reminded by my parents that my parents are the most amazing people in the world, but we all have those parents that just don't understand the way that things affect us, especially back in those days, because they are pretty old. But anyway, so I was always reminded, and for example, my piano, I got up to grade 7 and was studying for grade 8, which is what I needed to become a piano teacher so that I could make money on the side during school. And I quit before I sat my level 8 exam for piano. But yeah, so it's just always been a thing. And I was in a squad for swimming ages ago, and we were gonna start competing against really crazy other squads, and quit out of that as well. But pretty much I was always scared of failure, scared that I would not do things to my expectation, scared that I would never stick to something that I set myself out to, and all of that other stuff. So I was really scared of this new gym endeavor, and I was, without even starting, I was already crying to myself, fearful of letting myself down on something that I wanted so bad for myself, because I didn't feel strong, I didn't feel feminine, I looked like a fucking coat hanger. I was shopping in the kids section, my hair was falling out, I was so unhealthy, and I ate healthy food, but with the body fat percentage that I had, I was so unhealthy, and with my activity levels and just my general state of fitness, I was just the epitome of malnutrition and unfit. So anyway, yeah, I was just really scared, and I got my cousin to sign up to my gym with me, and we made it like we made each other a promise that we'll make sure that we go twice a week. and she brought her husband along as well, and we trained, and like I would get in there a little bit earlier so I can do extra cardio before, and I will explain my reasoning for that very soon. But yeah, I'd get in early, like I'd get in at about 8 p.m. She'd arrive after getting ready from work at like 8:30, and I do 30 minutes of cardio before starting any of my weights back then. But that's like I was studying uni and I knew what I was doing, and cardio was my main focus, not getting stronger back then, because I was like, it wasn't to lose fat, because like this is where the judgment comes in, because I was like, for reference, I'm 156 centimeters or 5'2", and I weighed 38 kilos. I got down to 37 once when I got gastro, because when you're that body fat and that malnutrition, you can catch sicknesses so easy. But yeah, so I was 38 kilos when I started, and I was doing treadmill for 30 minutes before I started my weights. And then I do a weight circuit that I wrote up while I was at uni, because I studied exercise and sports science for my bachelor, and pretty much we got told whatever our priority is to do it first, and to always do a warm-up, whether like with the focus of getting your heart rate up and warming the body up. It doesn't need to be in the form of cardio, but for me it was, and cardio was my main focus because I was so unfit, and my breathing, everything, I was like, because I learnt that aerobic work helps you recover, it helps your systems work. And also when I, like, even being 37 kilos, my cholesterol was at 8, and you're meant to be below, I think, 4.4, and I was 8. Now that's hereditary because I didn't eat that much junk. The only junk that I pretty much ate was ice cream on occasion. Everything else was just veggies and fruit. I wouldn't call cereal junk because it was mainly cornflakes and Wheat Bix when I did eat cereal, so it wasn't very sugar dense, but my cholesterol was really high, so I made it my focus to get my blood markers down and do a lot of cardio. And like, I think it was, but when it comes to the fear, like, I was scared because not only was it that fear of I'm not gonna, like, what happens if I go so amazingly one week and then fail myself the next week, or what happens if I lose motivation, then how am I gonna feel about myself? How will I feel about myself if I don't live up to my own expectations and I don't live up to social media's expectations, because now I'm checking in all the time. And like, that was one of my biggest fears. And not only that, it was being judged for being some skinny chick doing cardio and going to the gym, because to me, the gym was somewhere that people went to lose weight, because that's what I painted the gym as, because that's what I used to do. Like, I used to friggin' love, I never stepped into a gym before, but I used to freaking love, like, doing walks and the idea of, like, running and stuff like that way back. I never really did it, but I loved the idea of it, and the only thing I really did as activity was walk, but I tried to limit it as much as I could because I was just a nerd and I wanted to study for uni all the time, so I hardly did anything. And my only other form of cardio was when I was clubbing. So, because I clubbed since I turned 18, it was just going, like, I was the leader of like the promotion team for the, like, clubs that I was at, and I had to be there, like, every single Saturday and sometimes on Fridays as well. So I was always clubbing, dancing, and I didn't drink that much because, as you can expect, a 37-kilo girl kind of was I was very lightweight. Like, I would have 2 drinks and I could feel it. So that was pretty much all I ever drank, if I drank anything, and I would dance all the time. So that was my level of fitness only. And all the other times it was just studying 24/7. So pretty much that was me before I joined the gym. And then as soon as I joined the gym, that birthday was the last time I ever stepped foot into a nightclub. And now I refuse to ever go anywhere near the city, anywhere near nightclubs. I hate the thought of going to nightclubs. So if ever I go to a party, it will be a house party. Anyway, so happened, and my fear of being judged slowly faded away as I started feeling better, feeling fitter, seeing results. I started putting on more actual weight. Because my gym was near Woolies, I used to walk into Woolies every day because I used to finish training at like 10 p.m. So after my training, I'd walk into Woolies, buy a massive protein bar, sometimes one of those little ready-to-go drink shakes things, because I could not be stuffed cooking before bed, and I knew that I needed protein after training. And I was a vegetarian when I started, so I didn't really have, I didn't have a lot of form of protein anyway in my day, because I don't really like plant-based proteins too much unless I actually put a lot of effort into cooking it. So yeah, that was pretty much what I did, and because I started eating more, I started seeing more growth in my body and feeling stronger. And the moment I was able to pick up a 5-kilo dumbbell, my God, I was so excited. I struggled picking up a 3-kilo dumbbell when I started. Literally, I was struggling. And the day that I picked up a 5-kilo dumbbell, I was crying of happiness, because I also remember that I had a guy have to pick up the 10 fucking kilo barbell off the rack so that I could use it, because I could not pick it up off the rack. And he would help me use that because I really wanted to get into barbell curls. But this was 6 months down the track when I actually started picking up some strength and getting into the momentum of training more weights versus cardio. And it was still free weights. I never really used the men machine that I called them anyway, because I didn't want to go down into the men's section. It was another fear of mine. But so I went through that phase, and then he got me onto this guy that decided to help me out. Got me onto because he saw how tiny I was. He got me onto the men machines and started forcing me to go overloading, and he used to do forced reps and cheetah reps and all this stuff with me, and drop sets, and freaking smashed the shit out of me for a couple of months. And then I started becoming really reliant on spotters and forced reps and all of that shit. So I was a walking blobble of pain for a few months actually. But I loved it, because that was probably the most eye-opening moment of my life, because I realized how far I could push my body. I realized that I could actually do so much more than I thought I could, and I built up my pain tolerance so much doing that. And now I don't even fear failure, because I used to fail so many times and I didn't die. I didn't injure myself because I had proper form thanks to uni, which taught me everything I needed to know about lifting and biomechanics and all that shit. But yeah, it was just amazing. And I remember flexing and always taking selfies, but the thing that kept me accountable, like I said at the beginning, was the fact that I was always taking photos and checking in. And as soon as anyone started to complain, I'd be like, you know what, if you don't like what you see in my feed, I used to get really affected by it, and then I told someone, they're like, you know what, stand up for yourself, blah, blah, blah. So I did, I'm like, you know what, if you don't like what you see on my feed, I'm doing this for me. If you don't like it, unfollow me, unfriend me, or fuck off. I literally said that, and in saying that, I felt even more empowered because I stood up for myself. And it's my freaking Facebook, it's my Instagram, I post what the fuck I want. And the reason I'm telling you that and saying it the way that I have is because it honestly gave me a big boost of confidence in the fact that I was able to stand up for myself and what I believe in. And I'm able to keep working on myself because I stood up for myself and I made it known. So that was a very, very big thing for me. Oh, this is going on for ages, but I really wanted to just tell my story on how I overcame what I did, and it was mainly keeping myself accountable to social media. And the thing is, after going through those phases with my cousin, I got myself into the gym 3 times and then 4 times. And then there was a phase actually where I had to get into the gym 7 days a week. With the reason being, I was actually scared of rest days because I was like, okay, but what if I get so used to being lazy and sleeping in that I don't return back to the gym the next day? So I did go through phases like that even when I was into it. And that's the thing, like, it's not something that you just kick in 1 year. It's something that you need to practice daily, and you need to be able to enjoy the process and make friends along the way and find a like-minded tribe. Like, way back then, I didn't even know such thing as trainers, or, well, I knew trainers existed, but I mean like coaches. I didn't know that shit existed because online trainers didn't exist back then that I knew of. And like, I didn't have any friends that did the same stuff because I went to an academically selective high school and everyone got into like prestigious degrees in uni. My degree was actually a pretty prestigious one too because I had a master's attached to it, because what I got into gave you a master's and a bachelor. I completed 4 years of it. I didn't complete the whole thing because it was a 7-year degree, but I do say that, like, if anyone else is like, yeah, I studied exercise sports science, but whatever, it's just a degree. But yeah, so everyone went their own ways. Doctors, freaking dentists and accountants and lawyers and whatever the hell. So I had no one to really connect with, and my whole area's not really, like, there was only really that one person. So I did go at it alone, and I found it pretty hard, but it built my character, it built my tenacity, it built so much of my, like, it built who I am today, and I'm so grateful for every experience that I've had. But yeah, so that goes into pretty much starting out my story. I don't really know what anyone else really wants to hear, but she did want to know about layoffs and stuff like that, which to me is a little bit easier. It's just about getting back into it, and the fact that you desensitize your body, and by that I mean, like, your body can't do this, like, the same stuff of where it left off. Like, for example, I talked about this before, like, I had a client that went overseas for like eight weeks, and we were just honing in on her food and stuff, and she came back like 12 kilos heavier, and all she wanted to do was prep for a comp and drop all the body fat. I'm like, you know what, no, we're sticking to the same meal plan and the same training plan before you left, because your body's desensitized to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get you into routine for a couple of weeks and then go from there. So after 2 weeks on that training plan, I changed it up a little so it could get her interested and motivated again. The main thing, because she also suffers a lot of like injuries and like stuff like that, so I didn't want to like shock her body with too much. So we went back into that for 2 weeks. I left her food the same actually for about 3 weeks because she was still seeing changes on it. And then I changed it up with just slightly different macros because she was still seeing changes. And I just want, like, she's that type of person that doesn't like doing anything flexible. She wants a meal plan. So I had to be more proactive with her meal plans. A lot of my other clients, they're flexible within their meal plans, which is what I promote. I promote flexible nutrition, so being flexible within your meal plans. Anyway, I changed up her meal plan. She still kept dropping, and now I don't even know what is happening with her body, and she doesn't give a shit anymore. She said to me she doesn't give a shit. She doesn't even know that she wants to prep for comp anymore, because she's just loving feeling stronger. She's loving progressing. She's loving everything about the journey. And I actually cried when we had this phone call with her check-in, because that, to me, is everything Team Ruby is about. It's about empowerment. And that's what I went on about in the post that I just did. If you find my post on Instagram and on Facebook, where I'm looking at this is on my business Instagram and both my Facebooks, but I'm looking at the deadlift, getting ready to set up, and today is, I'll tell you the date so you can look for it. Today is the 15th of January. So, yeah, if you want to find that post, but I did talk a little bit about that bit. So it's really about just being kind to yourself and realizing that trying to go all in once you've had a layoff is going to overwhelm you. And that's, like, it's pretty much the same as nutrition. Like, this girl also said to me in I wish I could pull it up, but I can't, but she said to me in the conversation, this is a different girl, the one that actually asked me to do this podcast. She said to me, you know what? I don't know what to do with my free time anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, because for dinner every single night, I try to make everything so fancy for the husband, for the kids, for me. And now I'm just keeping it so simple and just changing up the flavors. And my God, it's amazing. But I have so much free time and I'm loving this. And I'm like, wow. Like, I had no words. I was just like, wow, please post that to the group, because that is the greatest form of empowerment ever. So yeah, it's about keeping it simple, taking it in baby steps when you've had a layoff. And I think that covered everything. Like having the layoff and in general. If I didn't cover anything, please let me know. Message me on Facebook. I think you can reply to this as well if you listen on Anchor, but just, yeah, reach out to me if there's anything I can help you with. And, yeah,